What's up, everybody? This is the Rabid Hedgehog, and this is going to be another used bike review from Indian of Oklahoma City, featuring a 2017 Kawasaki Vulcan Vaquero, featuring a 1700cc V-twin engine with a 6-speed transmission, also including a 5.3-gallon fuel tank, cruise control, ABS, and a weight of around 844.5 pounds and a seat height of 28.7 inches. Let's take a look at the inner part of this beautifully done frame mounted fairing, and you'll see the gauge cluster up there. It looks like classic muscle car, pretty cool looking. And then we'll take a look at these controls. You have your kill switch, you also have hazard, and you have your start. You also have mode to go through the LCD selections up there, and your cruise control on the right side. And left side, you have your horn, bright selection, turn signals, your various radio controls to change the volume and the tune and everything, and also for CB control. So let's go ahead and take this out for a ride and listen to what she sounds like.
So anyway, climbing up here on the Vaquero, it's a really cool looking display systems going on here. I mean, it's very simple, and I don't mind that at all. There's no reason to have all these extra gauges or all these extra, things get in the way. You just have a very basic display up ahead of you. On the right side, you have your cooling temperatures, you have your tachometer. Left side, you have speedometer and fuel. In the middle, you have a small LCD screen that gives you, on the left side, your gear indication, and in the middle you have your clock, you have your range. If you go through and hit mode B and A here on the side, you get your trips, both of them, A, B. You get your main odometer, and then if you slide the other way, you get your fuel economy average, your range, and all that fun stuff right there. You also get a low fuel indication light, turn signal, neutral, bright selection. This bike is equipped with ABS and also cruise control. Go ahead and set that down here. And there we go. There's your cruise control. Hydraulically actuated clutch on the left side here. It is a very far travel, so you do pick up at the very end of the travel for the clutch to get you, or to catch up. Now on the bottom, you do have all those radio controls as well, not so easily reached while you're in motion, so I don't recommend it, but not bad because you have all the handlebar controls as stated before on the left side. Now this does have a very nice windscreen. I do believe it is aftermarket. It looks a little taller than the average windscreen that comes on these. This one does have an anti-buffet control little vent, and actually does very well. I popped that open, I actually lost the buffeting off the top of my helmet there. Now this is very similar to the Harley-Davidson Road Glide in that the fairing in front of you doesn't move. It is a frame mounted fairing. So, unlike a batwing fairing, it doesn't move around with the handlebars. Some people might get thrown off by that, but I actually prefer this style of fairing. And the reason I prefer this style of fairing is that it doesn't put any weight on the actual handlebars themselves. I'm sorry. Like I said, it's very cold today. It's slightly below freezing right now, so if you hear some buffeting on the windshield, it's because I have to open up the visors and stuff. So I apologize because I keep fogging over while I'm talking here. At any rate, so I prefer these fairings because, especially in Oklahoma, where we have winds the way we do, is that it doesn't buffet the handlebars at all. It slices cleanly through the wind. So you don't have to worry about wind jostling your mic around. You just literally point and go, and these bikes generally just glide through the wind. Now, of course, this bike does have a sound system and everything on it, but I'm not going to mess with that due to copyrights and all that fun stuff, so I don't usually do that. But I mean, I've heard these before. They do very well. They're not as loud as some of the American systems, but they do a good job. You can still hear it pretty decently while you're riding. Now, right now we are in top gear. This 1700 has a lot of torque, pulling power in it. It does start to rattle though and feel a little bit bogged down whenever you're trying to get going. But that's because we're in top gear. If I drop that down one gear, there you go, you get a lot better response. And I am a sucker for a heel toe shifter on a big tourer like this. Now, I have the larger feet, as I always talk about, and these floorboards are fantastic. They're doing very good. I can get my whole foot on there. I'm not touching anything. I'm not bouncing between the heel toe shifter trying to find a place to put my foot. I can just put my foot down, don't have to worry about accidentally tapping it and shifting the motorcycle when I don't need to. So I got plenty of adequate room for my size 14 feet. Of course, this has karaoke and pegs for the highway bar, and I'm not going to use those because, I don't know, I've never been a fan of those. This bike going 65, 70 miles an hour is not pulling too many RPMs at all. It's pulling about 2,400 RPMs, so this engine's not really working at all to pull the weight of this motorcycle around. And the neat thing about it, this bike has a very nice feel to it. The chassis is very tight. I don't feel any binding in the turning at all. It's actually a great riding machine. Now, you do get a lot of soul through these handlebars. You actually do get some good vibrations and everything. However, it's not terrible. You get a little bit in your feet, you get a little bit on your hands. You kind of feel it a little bit everywhere, but it's not like grinding or maddening. It's actually like perfect. It's like a soulful feel to it. Now, this does have aftermarket pipes. I hope the report's coming back to this microphone because they sound fantastic. Engine braking is working fantastically as well. Downshifts are also very smooth on this motorcycle. And for a nice big bagger, it's got some pretty decent pull to it. Pretty dang decent pull. And it's not the biggest of the engines that are out there either. Get this to be like our cruising around just town there. There we go. So this bike definitely put it in overdrive if you're on the city, or if you're on the highway, city streets. Not so much. Sounds way bogged down. You want to keep this thing cruising around just around 2,000 and above to make it feel really good. You drop that into 6th gear right there, and it ain't happy at all with you. But that's not a bad thing at all. I mean, this is supposed to be a long-range cruiser. It's not supposed to be dug through the city like this. It's supposed to be rode in a long-range trip. Now, the bags on this particular motorcycle are a little bit different than how they actually work on American motorcycles. Most of them open, from the top. Well, these saddlebags actually open more like your European-style bags and open down to the side like a clamshell. The way Kawasaki does is they put some mesh lining in there and some straps and everything, keep everything in there. But they're not as big as some of the American motorcycles saddlebags for sure. Not going to get quite as much in there, but still a decent amount of room to get you where you need to go. And you do have a little bit of storage up here in the fairing as well. Transmission is spot on this motorcycle. The only thing I will complain about, but this is endemic of all hydraulic clutches, is that how far you go off the handle to get to the friction zone of the clutch. It is a lot further out than most of the motorcycles I'm used to now, so you have to sit there and kind of wait, and then you catch on to that friction zone and you're good to go. But I have to say, this bike rides fantastic. I really do love the way it rides. It does not feel as heavy as the spec sheet says it is. It basically feels I mean, everything's on the bottom of it. There's no top heaviness to this motorcycle at all, allowing it to just fling into the corner freely. And the chassis is so well balanced and engineered, I don't feel any wobbling or anything concerning like some big bikes when you dive into a corner and you feel like you're going to lose it because you don't have the suspension planted or anything, and the frame itself is kind of flexing a little bit under what you're doing because it wasn't designed for it. But this one does not feel like that at all. Everything is point and shoot. It's very light on its feet. Super easy to ride. I mean, this is a great riding machine, and the saddle's comfortable. For me, I love the way it feels. I could definitely sit on this bike all day long and have a good long ride with it. And the wind protection is fantastic. Like I said, yeah, it's below freezing, but I would prefer not having buffeting because I'm a very warm-natured person, so this kind of weather doesn't bother me that bad. So having that popped open, you definitely don't feel any of the buffeting that you normally will get with the windshield. It pops it open and it ends up getting rid of that dead air that's right there, and you can just ride all daggum day long. It's comfortable. And now that this bike is warmed up, you know, you still get a lot of the soul of the motorcycle coming through, but it's a very smooth riding machine once you get up to speed. And brakes on this motorcycle are fantastic too. They have no problem getting this big girl to stop. Hit a floorboard there and let's have some fun. Good adequate power to get you up on the interstate, especially when you got traffic running around you. We'll get it back over to the, like I said, we'll get it back into that overdrive or 6th gear, and this bike is not moving whatsoever in terms of the RPMs. Very smooth riding motorcycle. And I got the winds to my sides right now. Of course, I got some block here because of where I'm at right now, but let's see how it feels getting shoved around. We got some decent weight on this machine as stated. And I'm not really getting anything pushing me around. This bike is just holding very stable in the wind and in this ride. It doesn't track anywhere weird either whenever you're going around and hitting these you know, little rain slits that they put in there to kind of get the road to drain out. Simply riding around perfectly. Alrighty. Got to remember to be careful around here because we did have all that snow and ice and stuff, so let's take her easy here. Don't hit the salt and sand. Now you do touch down pretty quick on this motorcycle, but this is a big touring bike. That's to be expected. Like I said, plenty of power to get you merged into traffic too. Fantastic riding machine. I'm impressed with this one. These bikers cost quite a bit less than their American counterparts. They've been made for a while too, but they last forever. The way they build the engines, the way they build the bike out, it's very good fit and finish. I don't see anything concerning. I don't see any weird gaps or anything that's weird in the fairing. Everything looks tight, everything looks good. Bike's got 16,409 miles on it as we speak. It just rides beautifully. I'm very impressed with this motorcycle. I really do like the way this bad boy rides, and this is awesome excitement. I'd love to take this thing on a much longer ride. Because these initial impressions are fantastic. Great riding machine. I mean, like I said, very similar to a Harley Road Glide and how you sit down in it. You have the fixed frame mounted fairing and everything that's around you like this. It's just a great overall setup though. Everything's so readable. Like I said, everything's right here. You have CB radio, you have everything you need on a touring bike. go long range, even that cruise control's on here. I mean, everything is here that you need, and there's nothing to complain about at all. Great riding machine, great buy if you're looking for a bagger and you're looking for something that's reliable, will get you across the country and back a few thousand times with a smile on your face. Like I said, I'm darn impressed with this thing. So at any rate, once again, thank you to Indian of Oklahoma City for allowing me to ride your used bikes and take out this lovely Vulcan Vaquero and enjoy it once more. So if you're looking for a good quality bagger for not a lot of buck, I highly recommend one of these bad boys. At any rate, this is the Rabid Hedgehog. We'll catch you on that next review.